And hey, we're live now.
Hey. All right, what's up, everybody? This is going to be the NASA Town Hall. We'll be talking about the whole NASA 2019, some stuff about the venue, some stuff about the stream, as well as hopefully getting some people to ask questions so we can learn like more of like what both viewers and attendees would want out of NASA 2019. We're in the NASA Discord at the moment. If there's anyone who wants to jump in, ask a question, you'd have to ask us to bring you into the call. But if you're someone I know isn't a shitlord, I'd be down to let you in. Like Headcrab's not coming in this fucking call. Fuck that guy. No offense.
Yeah, you can also ask questions in chat. We can take some questions while we have some other stuff that we're gonna share with y'all throughout the stream. So.
Well, who wants to tackle the first topic then? And I shot, not me.
I think this seems like a Dark Fox topic. I don't know, I just picked you.
I've been picked. So the first topic is tournaments. We want to do those. I think Lurk's talking about doing a fighting game tournament of some sort, from what I remember. And I think some other people had mentioned doing a couple of tournaments. There's the Shrek one. There's the Shrek one. There's Chess 3. There you go.
Two Worlds was the one who I think was wanting to work the Shrek tournament. So
yeah, I already entered that tournament.
Also, I was gonna do like Mafia, not so much as a tournament, but if you just keep track of every like game the people's in, you can track your win rate. So it's like if you're Mafia Town, you won, that'd just be like one win, and the people's like win rates throughout the event, because that's like kind of the best way to determine like a win, like the best player of the event, because tournaments don't really work for that kind of like communal game.
Yeah, I think in general the idea is we want more like just interactive stuff to do throughout the marathon, and stuff to come back to.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like while I spend probably most of the time just like in the marathon room, like shooting the shit with Laz or whatever, just talking shit, having like a some official game on the line. It's always a
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's just fun. In general.
And more than just like Smash Brothers and stuff like that,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, to be fair, how many people even play Smash at our event? I don't think there's...
No, I'm sure you can find
8.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, how many times have we entered like the casual room and there's Smash being played?
There's only ever like one TV tops being used for any Smash game from N64, which is I actually seen N64 more because Combo is like wicked good at it, and everyone's just like 3v1ing him and he's still just kicking ass. Shrek Super Slam is a good game.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of... The problem, I think, with tournaments mainly is just like what was the one that we had last year? The Risk tournament?
we had Risk Legacy last year.
Right, and that one ended up fairly well because it was one of the things that we could not really worry about. We could focus on other things, so... If people want to do tournaments, just pull a 2 Worlds and go like, yo, who's showing up? Sign up.
Yeah, I mean, if you do want to do a tournament, you should reach out to me and let me know.
Or not necessarily a tournament, but a competition thing, like beating like F-Zero Chapter 5, GX Chapter 5, which is
like the
always
F-Zero challenge.
So always fun. Watching, I love watching people suffer at GX.
Yeah, we're gonna try and find a way to make it a little more noticeable this year. Because I know last year we had an issue where some people just weren't aware certain things were going on, like, for example, Risk tournaments and stuff. So we might try and, figure out, okay,
I think it would be as much as having, like, a dedicated area for it would make...
Yes, and that's what I said, right, where it's scheduling attorney stuff as well. I think one of these things where if we're talking about getting people ahead of time, thinking of tourneys they want to run, and kind of blocking them into places where we can try and get people to commit to showing up. It makes it a lot easier to run that kind of stuff if you have, let's say, a 4-hour block on a Wednesday to run that versus, oh, well, we're going to choose a random time and hope that we can find people together. That way, if we kind of let that all notable, have a place for signups, have a place where people can see all the tournaments going on, that will make it much more visible to the people kind of wandering through that can just sign up for a random tournament.
Yeah, totally.
We also have less people too, so like when you have only 80 people, if you have a really niche thing, you kind of will have to go around yourself and convince people to sign up. Like I know Two Worlds has been doing a good push getting to that Shrek Super Slam, getting a lot of people showing up for it. But other than that, if you have a tournament you want to run, but you think you're going to be the only one there interested in it, you really gotta push to get tons of people there and enjoying
Yeah,
the
I'm
game.
trying to play some fighting games, so if people want to run fighting game tournaments, I'll pick up the game. I'll play it.
Two things to say there for me. I know Laz and we both like from Fallout New Vegas Caravan, so we're gonna like bring like bottle caps and cards and play Caravan like true New Vegas style. And for fighting games, I have like a bunch of Dreamcast fighting games that are like wicked good, like the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game.
All right.
And like Therio said, like that's one of the hardest fighting games because of like the program stand thing, and it's just like wicked good. Like a bunch of like samurai ones. Like it's Choo Choo Rocket, which is like the highest skill cap game ever made. Like you got options.
Yeah, so definitely more challenges, more scheduled stuff I think to do throughout the event will be fun. It'll encourage folks to maybe get out of their hotel rooms a little bit more.
If there's one thing that I would want to do is kind of do like a mystery puzzle challenge light, in the sense that like some puzzle game for like, let's say the day, and then I don't know, there's like a timer, and then everybody gets like a shot at it during the whole day and see who can beat it in the fastest time or something. That way, like it isn't
Sounds cool.
scheduled. That would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be like flashcards or PC only?
Well, it
That-
would probably be easier to just like set up a laptop with a controller.
Yeah, just
But-
logistically.
Yeah.
Put them in a box so that nobody else can cheat and learn from their
Yep.
own.
Yep. Game isn't announced until it show up, but like something where I don't have to stare at it all the time would be super nice.
But you're not doing much else during the marathon, so...
Oh no,
No,
that's
absolutely
an issue.
not. Absolutely.
You have a lot of free time on your hands.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. But yeah, if any of you guys have any cool ideas or anything you think would be fun, just let me know, and
Yeah.
I'll see if I can make it happen at the event.
Oh yeah, I guess one thing that we haven't I don't know if we've announced, we've got off our ass and given each other official titles for the jobs. I'm the
Yeah,
director.
we're
I'm the
very high
director of
quality.
finances because that's mainly all I really do is look for hotels and then manage payments of stuff. The actual tech stream stuff, I haven't done shit since the very first NASA.
When you blew
Yeah.
up my computer.
On our about page on massmarathon.com, we have that information. But yes, yeah, when I know Dark Aries is kind of talking in chat about that, where it's like a 12-hour challenge. Yeah, you could do it something like that. Either that's more of a mastering a run, though, as opposed to just seeing how well you handle it mystery style, where that would be more like a singular attempt, kind of like a mystery
The
tournament,
first try
Yeah.
would be the only
Yeah.
one that counts.
Right. This is more like a
blind competition.
like a challenge. They like
I think
tournament or anything.
Shrimp did that with Beethoven at a few
Yeah, that's
SPAs
what
in
I'm thinking.
NASA 2017 or 18. Wait, no,
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, where it's just like who could beat BZ gets like a hamburger or whatever. Probably put some sort of prize associated with it. Like I said, I
Yeah, that
can
sounds about
chat.
right.
I can figure stuff out. It's just the idea currently. But
So-
also, before we continue, since the website was mentioned, shoutouts to the new website because it's awesome. That's all.
Yeah, so let's move on to our next topic, which is going to be our venue layout for this year. So this year, we are changing up kind of how the event spaces is going to look. We're going to, well, last year we had 2 different rooms, and we had a lot bigger space than, say, in 2017 or in 2016. So even though we had more people attending the event, it actually felt smaller overall. A lot of the feedback we got last year was that the event felt more empty. And it's because we had like 2 really big rooms and not enough folks to really like fill up the spaces that we had, even though it was a great deal, you know, financially for us. So this year we've, you know, being in Niagara Falls and all that, we have switched it up to be more similar to how ESA did their layout, with a 1-room setup. So the stream, the practice room, the whatever else is going on, Sans Mafia pretty much is going to be happening in one big room instead, one big ballroom that we have for the event. And we think that this will be like, was it ESA 2015 when they had the big room, the big circular room?
I think it was, yeah. Every event before 2015 was at that location, I believe.
Yeah. And I don't know. I personally, I was there, and I personally really liked the event there because I felt that it was really comfy. It felt like everything was just there, and you could sort of see everything that was kind of going on. And I know some people complained about like noise and feeling like they couldn't concentrate and stuff, but like I didn't have that problem. So we're gonna move into that sort of space for this year.
So the question, do we think there will be any audio concerns with one large room? We're kind of designing it in planning for that sort of thing. So for example, we're going to have the streaming area where the main games will be going on as far away from the main entrances that we're going to have people coming in as possible, so there isn't a lot of foot traffic making noise, as well as any of the things that we think will be louder we're going to put closer to the entrance.
So
that's one of the first things that'll close down, but then we'll also we have very directional mics. And
yes.
And so we won't really have an issue with, like, if the runner has a headset on, for example, because they want audio, or the mics they'll be using will be much more directional, so it's not as much of an issue to have to worry about.
Yeah, like I'll talk a bit more about it later, but like my job involves people being at a podium microphone or having labs, and like all of a sudden the room like can get really loud, but somehow they still have to be heard. And I don't have a problem with like all the loud people going through the speakers. So I mean, there might be maybe a little bit of ambiance, but is that really a bad thing? Might not be, because I mean, having something in the background instead of just like silence is also pretty nice. But it's if it's quieter than the game, you probably won't even hear it anyways. But with a combination of different things that I'll go over later, I don't foresee there being a problem audio-wise.
And it will be a learning experience. It's one of these things that we're going to try it this year, and if we find out the complaint so that nobody could focus on the game, you couldn't hear anything properly, then looking forward, we'll probably look at splitting it out again. But if other marathons have had, success with this kind of style in the past, kind of figuring out how to section stuff such that we can still make it listenable for the people actually running while allowing that kind of background ambience.
Well, you have to bear in mind with ESA 15 VODs, George, that they use different microphones than we use. Like, they generally, I think, don't they use lapel mics, or now the headset mics? But I think 15 would have been those lapel mics, if I remember right.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, well, so that they tend to pick up a little bit more outside noise than the directional mics that we're using.
Fun fact, I have a prop. The
show and tell time
microphone capsule right here, if I can focus. Microphone capsule right there is actually the exact same that is used in Shure lavalier / lapel mics. So if you can get, like, it's just as directional if it's here on your sternum or if it's there on a podium. It has to do. Thing is with wireless, it generally only has one gain. On a podium, you have a lot more gain. But fun fact, exact same microphone capsule.
It's a good like guess as to how it might sound. We can maybe tweak it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, and we can at least learn from like if people were really hard to hear for certain things, or we can maybe look through some feedback maybe from ESA 15 if people had any certain concerns about a large room to learn from that sort of thing. Also, I know in Asper you were asking if dividing walls would be used if we're using an open room. Had we decided upon if we're actually throwing up dividing walls for the stream area, or if we're
No,
just going to keep it open?
it's going to be wide.
Open.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll just be in the furthest corner from the main entrances that people will be using.
I had the idea of looking into those like portable like soundproofish, not quite soundproof, but like walls with the whatever the slatted or the like they're designed that you could like put them in a space to like mess with sound shit, but it's not really worth the money, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then you have to actually, most likely rent them and then drag them around and set it all up. And we've used those types of things before for when we did, for example, DreamHack Montreal. I know we used those things a bit to cordon ourselves off from other areas, but I don't think it would help a ton.
No, it really would not.
Yeah, they're more for like just sectioning off not so much sound, but just space in general. Like, so you could say this area is for this area is for that. It's not really much.
Yeah, and the ballroom that we have itself, it kind of leads out into this big patio area, right? Is that, am I saying that right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
we're working on exactly how that'll like flow as far as like one entrance, two entrances, how that'll like affect, audio placement of everything, where like challenge and tournaments and stuff is going to go. But essentially, we should be able to have like an open area and an inside area, so that should be pretty good. It shouldn't feel claustrophobic, is what I'm thinking, but it should feel
we have.
full, or like I think there was a general
What's the square
feeling.
footage of the space?
That's a good question. Maybe
I
someone
think
wants
it's
to look
around
that
about
up.
2,500.
Yeah, something like that.
I can quickly pull it up, but I do believe that is correct.
But I think there was a general feeling of walking into like the practice room last year and it being more empty than it maybe could have been. Like we were really only utilizing maybe like I don't know, 50% of the room,
Yeah, at most.
Like I know some folks set up like some sleeping stations down there and made forts out of the chairs and stuff, So we had the space. We had plenty of space. So
Yep.
This year we should have like there should be more going on, more for you to just, engage with and hang out with and just see what's happening more visibly.
Yeah, and it'll give that feeling of more fullness in the fact that there'll always be generally people there, even if they're just doing practice or if they're just hanging around, there'll always be kind of like you'll never walk into an empty room. Like sometimes later in the night last year, you'd walk into a practice room, it would be empty. Well, the stream room always has something going on because we're running the full time.
Right.
So if you come into what is now this year going to be the practice room, well, there's always going to be people in there because the stream's going to be running. So if you come into the space, you can even just sit down because there's something going on.
And there's an idea, at least that I've had, that we've talked about a little bit, but the idea of having like a second stream, sort of like an understream, just checking out other stuff going on, the tournaments, the challenges, and stuff like that.
And not necessarily a 24-hour one.
Yeah. Just like this is happening right now, and if you manage to you tune in, you get it. If not, fuck you.
I have a fun fact, by the way. The total amount of square footage we have is actually 3,100.
So
it's even more.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say.
Yeah.
It's large.
So it's a
Yeah, for some
sizable
reason.
room. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for mukbang in the practice room. You can watch all the staff eat.
Oh yeah, that's
No.
okay. I forgot what that word meant. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, yeah.
We'll all go stop by the nearby IHOP or something and get some pancakes, and you can watch us all eat some pancakes.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Of course, in Niagara Falls, it'll be like $50 for 5 pancakes, but
Yep.
Should we, this is just something I thought of now, but I mean, it doesn't seem like an inappropriate thing to bring up. Should we consider, if we're going to do an understream, should we consider doing understream for setup day, maybe?
if we have available, availability for somebody to walk around and do that, it's possible. We can discuss that further and see if that seems like something we can support.
The other thing to mention about the venue that's important is that the parking, if you're going to be driving in to the event, was going to be 20 Canadian a day. We managed to talk them down a 50% discount on that, so it's at least going to be $10 a day instead of 20. So at least it's something. It's still not ideal to where we'd really want it, but parking in Niagara Falls is pretty tough anyways, from what I understand.
Yes.
Yeah, given the area, it's kind of like almost like you can't really get away with that, or
you can't avoid it.
Avoid it. Yeah, that's the.
It's a big tourist area. We are like 5 to 10 minutes away from the actual falls by car in this hotel. So yes, everywhere is pretty much paid parking because otherwise their parking lot would be filled. The one thing that I do want to mention though is that unlike the other venues that we've been at, this venue in particular seems to be very eager to work with us. They understand what we're doing. It's not just like, oh, you have the conference space, whatever. Like they actually like, oh, well, we had other live streams here happen too. So this is like, they're very open discussion with us in trying to plan this, which is super awesome. So
makes things a lot easier for us.
Yes.
Yeah, so if folks have questions about the venue, things happening there, we'll talk about like hotel stuff a little bit later, but just let us know if you have any questions about the stream or anything like that. Oh, one thing we didn't mention but that we are thinking about is not having a couch this year. Just saying,
yep.
No more couch. We will just use chairs.
Yeah,
I don't know how controversial that really is, but
if you think about it, like how many people fell asleep on the couch? I mean, I took a nap, so it ends up being the nap station more.
Yeah, Laz slept on it for like half a day. He was there from I think he was there from my crazy taxi run, and then 12 hours later was my point blank run. And he went to sleep during crazy taxi and woke up during point.
Yeah. And it's just like, chairs are so much easier. You need more people, you pull up more chairs. You need less people, you throw away the chairs. Like, the couch, like, you have to drag it forward, drag it back, and, depending on
we could probably still get, cushions to put on it if you all want to.
We could try and get the nice chairs from the hotel, yeah.
Yeah, because I was about to say, what about, our long-ass run, right? Do you really want to sit in the normal chairs for 8 hours?
Hey, it's your fault for running a long run. Running.
I mean, to be fair,
who just runs longer than an hour anyway?
Just stand
that
up.
happened at GDQ anyways. I mean, they didn't have comfy chairs on stage. They had regular chairs. So.
Or if you're running a PC game,
I was
it's
bring your own cushions.
The couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess moving on to our next topic is we'd like to try and make our intermissions a little bit more interesting. And we don't really know what that means, but we'd like to make them somehow, I don't know, interactive in some way.
We had some ideas, just nothing we've actually said, yeah, that's what we're going to.
Well, one of the things that we will do is what I want to do is put up a GoPro just high up in the air. Since we'll have one big room, there's literally always going to be something happening. And if we could cut to that during intermissions, that would be really legit, I think. Instead of just seeing off a bit of the audience or whatever, you now get to see oh, there's a lot of people all of a sudden at this section of the room. Wonder what they're doing. Or, oh, there's people just chilling there. Or, it shows that there's things going on, like an overhead cam. So that's one of the things I would like to do. But there's obviously more things that we could do in conjunction to that to make the intermissions more interesting. So,
yeah, one idea was to have folks like in the stream or whatever bet on the time that the runner would get, and see sort of at the end of the run who got the closest time. And I don't know if there could be some sort of point system. I know Stream Tips bots and all those sorts of things have like in chat currency things that we could utilize so that people could, I don't know, request songs or something. I don't know, but something like that, something engaging that's like, or what was the other thing, betting on runs. So you bet that it'll be this time and you get X amount back or not.
And other things that like we can use around like marble games and stuff like that people have used, where you can just kind of throw it up and allow people to just interact with something while they're waiting for the next.
Yeah,
I think Lurk had the idea of like trivia, where we could have like a question of like a game, or like even play like a video game song, and it's like name the game it's from or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Either utilizing, again, that sort of in-game, in chat rather, currency or anything like that. So, I know I forget which marathon did it, but they had the duck game from the duck racing game from the game I'm blanking on the name of right now. No one knows what I'm talking about.
I can't think off the top of my head.
Oh, I also had the idea of, it's like you could have a webcam on like a side table and just have like a physical, like not like a Rubik's Cube or those like like 3D puzzles where it's like there's like a steel thing and there's like a string on it, you need to get it out or some shit like that. Just have someone attempt to do that during an intermission could be
right.
Yeah, and the example of a runner practicing in, for example, a practice room is totally something we can do. And that's kind of one of these things where we're also talking about like an understream example, where sometimes there might be a little overlap between the things we're thinking of doing here, where it's like sometimes during an intermission, if there was something we were thinking of doing to show off something going on in another spot of the room, instead of streaming it on a second stream, we'd just be showing it during the intermission. Somebody practicing is an example of that, where we just find kind of things going on. And that's kind of the point, is that the main thing we want to do is make it so that there's not as much time where people are just sitting here looking at a blank screen. If there's anything going on, it's better than if there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if folks have ideas as far as intermission stuff that we could do, like, I don't think any of us are really all that interested in doing like interviews or, I don't know, GDQ style skits or anything like that, or I don't know. We don't really have hosts, but we could, I don't know, have someone talk at the camera while we set up another run.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think I wouldn't really want to do skits or anything. That seems like a lot
That's
of
way too
effort
much work. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not that ahead of the
We're not
game.
that
I think you could have
enthusiastic.
like just like have like a mic and have like two people talking about just whatever would be
Sure.
much more my style.
Yeah. But just like we would just want to do something with the time, and hopefully we'll have some folks to help us out with that sort of thing on site, so we can really make it happen. But yeah, if you have ideas as far as intermission stuff that we could be doing, otherwise we'll come up with something. But yeah.
Also, an idea I gave it to GDQs a long time ago, but like you could have like a setup of like Clue on the SNES and have like betting, like people like donate for whatever, like who did it where and what weapon, and during intermissions you just attempt that once, and if you get it right, it's like chat goes ape.
Yeah, really short
we
games
could do
might work
Yeah.
out well.
Yeah.
Like I could
we
do
just
Oregon
include
Trail.
speed runs or Oregon Trail? Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. We'll figure
Oregon
it out.
Trail. That Oregon Trail is honestly a really good intermission game. Because
It
you got
is.
the like line. It's just really comfy. It's got some good music.
You can interact with the chat for names. Q&As on the side are potentially interesting things. The only issues we have when we start doing things like this is, yet again, it kind of comes down to how we end up doing this, is you need mics and stuff for Q&As. So if, for example, we don't have the stuff to record as much sound and we're just trying to do video during setup, just so we can kind of start it and forget about it. Especially like during the day, we might be able to do slightly more ambitious intermissions. I can see like during midnight when there's one person on the tech station and they just want something to keep people busy. That's when you might have a duck bobbing up and down, and that's what you get for intermission. But I definitely think something that could be cool. It's just as long as how we decide we end up doing it, if we can grab, audio and interview somebody for it or answer questions for the chat, like why is this setup taking 30 minutes? And then we'll quickly go and give a Q&A to Dark Aries, and he'll say, I don't know, leave me alone. And that's kind of how it'll be.
When that's happening, I'll be asleep. Hopefully, maybe. We'll go over. Yeah, we'll go over some stuff. We'll go a little bit over about that later. Lots of tech that I can talk about. So.
Guess we can move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean.
Let's see. Next up, we have how to get to the venue from various places. Who has the most info on this?
Well, I do believe that the website does have instructions on how to get to the venue, but like I said earlier, the venue itself is about let's say 10 minutes away from the actual falls themselves. This means that the area is tourist heavy, which means that it is very easy for tourists to show up. So Niagara Falls itself is in between Buffalo Airport and Pearson Airport, both are national airports. There's also the Hamilton, the John C. Munro International Airport that I think it only has 1 or 2 international things, which is why it's considered international. But if you're in Canada and flying, you'll probably have a cheaper flight going to Hamilton. And there, because it's the falls, it's very easy to hop on a bus. I think Buffalo actually has a Greyhound that goes like every half hour or hour or something straight to the bus terminal in the falls. From Toronto, there's of course transportation as well, like the Megabus, I think, or anything like that. You can take a GO train from Union Station downtown Toronto to Hamilton and then take a GO bus. Go in Hamilton itself, there's also a bus route that goes from the airport to a depot, and then you can take another bus that goes to Niagara Falls. There's a lot of different methods to reach Niagara Falls itself, and then right outside the hotel is a WeGo bus station, and WeGo is the falls kind of transit bus system. There's like 3 different lines, and if you want to get somewhere touristy in the falls, you take a WeGo bus. And those, I think, go every maybe half hour or whatever buses, but it is very easy if you do not drive to reach the venue. A lot easier than actually last year's, because even though St. Catharines is like probably the most sophisticated public transport wise in the Niagara region, it doesn't have the amount of tourism that Niagara Falls does, and therefore it is harder to get to, but in this case it is very easy to get to. So
yeah, and note that another thing is that if you're, for example, going all the way into Niagara Falls by a GO bus or something, and then you don't want to deal with the hassle of finding a bus to go the last 5-10 minute bus, if you're coming during a time when the event's already started, it's sometimes easy to, if you plan it beforehand and say, hey, I'm planning on getting here at 4 p.m. Can somebody drive 5 minutes and pick me up? If there's enough people driving to that, you might be able to find somebody who's willing to come get you, especially for Niagara Falls. Maybe harder from Hamilton, Pearson, from the airports. That's a little tougher, and you're probably going to need to give them some cash for that. But if you take the GO bus all the way into Niagara Falls, most people are willing to drive 5 minutes to go pick you up, as long as they're not busy doing something else.
Yeah, we want to emphasize that the public transportation is really good, because Canada wants you to go to Niagara Falls. So,
yes,
you will be able to get there.
They really do.
Yeah, they will take you from everywhere to Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
they want to make that casino money.
For Americans, pretty much everywhere, you pretty much probably would just want to go to the Buffalo airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For Canadians, it's kind of like Hamilton, I guess, for cheap. But international, I'm not sure which would be cheaper.
I would guess
Probably
Toronto. Just because there's more flights that go in there. And also, just do a look, because the thing is, going to Buffalo, you end up closer, but if you're going from a major airport and you can find a trip to Toronto or Hamilton Airport for cheaper,
Yeah.
go to that airport. You can double check how much the transport will cost, but it'll be probably as expensive going from Toronto, like Pearson Airport, as it would from Buffalo in terms of taking certain buses. So just do the research. We make sure to have, the base information on our website, and actually I'll post that in the chat, about the transportation to the hotel. But beyond that, you can always ask questions in the Discord and stuff as well, because we want to make sure that people, can get their way there. And if they have any questions, we'll do our best to answer them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be flying into Buffalo. So like there's going to be some people I'm sure that are going to want to rent a car, for example. Like maybe you could carpool if you're arriving on the same day. That makes it really easy because then you just drive across the border, right? Just like you were saying, you could probably get people to pick you up. Honestly, from Buffalo to Niagara is what, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. Like that's not even very far, as long as the person coming to pick you up is comfortable driving back and forth across the border.
This is another good point. I guess Gers just said that Toronto is cheaper for international, but also one thing that I didn't think about is that if you do fly into Buffalo, then you have to deal with American customs and then Canadian customs. So you probably want to do Toronto or Hamilton.
Right. If you're international, if you're international, you don't want to fly into America at all because you're gonna have to get a visa for America and Canada, or something weird like that. Yeah, it's a headache. I think that like the play for Europeans is generally speaking going to be Toronto, because from what I understand, it's a hub for certain European airlines for North America to begin with, like that and Chicago, and like JFK are like big hubs for Europe. So it's probably fine, relatively speaking, especially for George, right? You're coming from Britain, right? So that's probably not going to be insanely expensive. Heathrow to Toronto, for example.
Plus he's on euros, which are just better than the Canadian dollar.
Well, we'll see by the time the event happens if that's actually the case. But...
Yeah, I was going to say the pound might drop.
He's on third, not euros.
After the third fucking Brexit.
So moving on to our next topic of conversation, which is things to do in the area. And one thing that we want to make sure that we try to do better this year is schedule some of our like kind of group, more I guess official group trips, as far as like Canada's Wonderland, if we're going to do that again, or if we want to go down to the falls. We're going to do it again. Or if we want to go down to the falls, if we want to do, there's a ton of stuff to do in the area: wax museums, haunted houses,
casinos, if you want to blow away
all these sorts of things.
First and foremost, like in the availability or when submitting runs, I'm going to specifically ask, do you want to go to Canada's Wonderland? Just so we know to not book like a whole swap of people on a certain day.
For sure. And so if you want to do like organize any kind of event or outing like that, let me know so that I can we can get like a little sign up sheet going. I don't know if people remember last year I did like a day 0 dinner, and I did sign-ups ahead of time. I called the restaurant, and made reservations for I want to say 16 people. And it worked out pretty well, so I'm more than happy to, make arrangements for activities for stuff, just if you want to do something, let me know. If you want to do it as like a big group and not just, your little 4-person clique or whatever.
And that kind of brings up potentially talking to me about an idea when we're saying that we'll ask you if you're signing up for Canada's Wonderland. If you want to do a huge outing with a bunch of people, this is one of these things that when we're going into scheduling, if we know, for example, that we're doing a big Niagara Falls outing or a big Canada's Wonderland outing, we can maybe bake that into our availabilities so that if people are saying, yes, I want to go to this thing and this thing, we can kind of book a day for that on our schedule and then not schedule any of the people who want to. Because there was nothing more painful than Canada's Wonderland for NAS 2018, where I had to sit down for probably 2 straight hours and just move a whole days or 2 worth of schedule.
Yeah, that was entirely my fault.
It was. Yeah. So we're trying to avoid that this year, where we don't have to move people off of a day or ask 10, 15 different people if they're able to cover for a different time because, this person wants to go to Canada's Wonderland. So we're kind of going to ask you ahead of time. And if you say that you want to go, we'll avoid you on the schedule. And if you say you don't want to go and change your mind later, well, you're lower priority for being moved off the schedule. We can't find somebody to replace you because somebody's going to need to be there during the time when we're, going to Canada's Wonderland. So
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Niagara Falls is a massive tourist trap. You can find plenty of things to do.
yeah,
Oh,
Clifton
yeah, for
Hill, Clifton Hill in general is the place
Yes.
that everyone's going to want to go down. It is like the definition of tourist trap. There's
I went last year.
there's museums, and there's haunted. It's got one of the scarier haunted houses with
Yeah.
nightmares.
Yeah.
They've got, a lot of just random stuff up and down that single street
I
of
mean,
Clifton Hill.
It's
There's
your
a brewery.
prerogative, but if you want to just go to the casino and play FIFA or
Yeah.
NHL at the bottom of the casino because they have Xbox and PS4s there, and just like do whatever you want, it's your prerogative. You can do that. Like,
Yep. I think there's an IMAX across from Clifton Hills, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
it's
it's
not.
a tourist IMAX.
Yes, it's not like where they show it's where they show like Journey over the falls. Yes, there is two casinos.
To be
actually.
fair,
There's
if you
Falls
have-
and Casino Niagara.
If you have never been to that tourist IMAX, I highly recommend it because it is like the massive IMAX screen, and then like when the falls and everything are there, and then the whole sound system, and when they're showing that, it's just like holy crap, it's
Yeah.
pretty legit.
Yeah, do prepare. By the way, all the stuff's very cool. It's much more expensive compared to, let's say, if you were in St. Catharines, even restaurants. If you
Denny's.
Yeah, if you want to go to like an IHOP, for example, it's like if you're going, the closer you get to the strip, things will be more expensive than usual. Like if you went to, let's say, a Montana's in, which is just, you can buy ribs and stuff there. I think I went to the one in Niagara Falls and a rack of ribs was $27 Canadian, where in St. Catharines it was $21 Canadian or
Is that
something.
for the full
Yeah.
rack or a half?
A full rack. It might have been more than that. You can probably look up these menus.
I
But
think it's only
generally-
like 24 where I am, so that's not that big a
yeah.
difference.
So you're gonna find compared to St. Catharines, things are gonna be about maybe 10 to 20% more expensive than
Yes.
if you were to go elsewhere. So if you have a car and you're willing to drive a little further to the same type of place, I'd recommend it. But it's still pretty reasonable.
Yeah. The thing is that it is a little bit more expensive, but the flip side of that is that there's a lot of options for things to do
Yes.
that are very easy to get to. Like, honestly, like how long would it take to walk to the falls from the hotel? What, like 30, 40 minutes?
Yes.
Maybe an hour at most.
30 minutes, Google says.
Yeah,
And
so
Google
30 minutes
overestimates.
walking to Clifton Hills. So you could just walk down there. It's going to be June in Canada, so it's not like it's going to be sweltering hot.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you wouldn't expect it to be 100.
But
For Americans, it probably won't. They won't
Right.
think it.
yeah.
Depending on where from America you're coming from, I guess.
But even food-wise, there's a lot to do. There's one place
Yeah.
that I hope to go to maybe at least once. It's a place called Country Fresh. You know the place is legit when it has a Vice article about it. It's just a 24/7 donut shop that also sells the best wonton soup that you probably will ever have. So there's
Oh,
a
and
lot of
idea I
things.
just got right now. We decided like to get a suite for a staff room, and I think we could have like every few nights we could have like a movie night, just like 7
Yeah.
p.m. or whatever, nothing like too late, just where we just like get a bunch of popcorn and watch shitty movies.
Yeah,
Hell
definitely,
yeah.
Yeah, we'll have places where you can do movies. That would be cool.
for sure.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to do the day zero dinner again while we're still on that, topic of things in the area and things that are going to happen. I'm going to do that again. I have a couple of places already that I've looked at, so that'll also be something, we'll
Is
put
there
in
a
the
big
sign up.
tuna nearby?
It's
Uh,
20 minutes drive. Or
Yeah,
30
it's a
minutes
bit of a
so
drive.
It's not
It
realistic.
shouldn't be 30. It should be...
My debate is, okay, here's my debate, right, when planning this dinner. I have a couple of options, but the one that I want to go to is called Meat Market, and they do dry-aged steaks and stuff, but the steaks are like $50. I don't
Yeah,
care
it's gonna
because
be expensive.
I'm on vacation. I want to dry steak. Start off the vacation right.
Yeah,
But I don't know how
what
many
that might
people are
be.
gonna want to do something like that. You know what I mean? So
I
I
will
was looking at
say-
cheaper options as well that were more in like the $20 to $30 per person price.
There
Flying
is Boston
saucer.
Pizza in the hotel.
Yeah,
Just a
but
reminder.
I don't want a Boston Pizza. I want to go
Boston
have something cool.
Pizza's Canada's default location if you want to go
It
get
is.
food and drink.
Boston is expensive though. That's
I remember this.
even in like bumfuck nowhere, the Boston pizzas will be expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to eat at a
but-
rando chain restaurant my first day in Canada. I want to eat something cool. Unique
Oh,
food.
there's a Win Japanese and Thai not too far. It's all you can eat sushi.
Their flying saucer is also good, but I don't know if they can really do.
I
Like,
think that's a little, and I think that's a little further.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely places around.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out.
Foxhole.
And it'll be in there if you're gonna plan on being there the day before setup, then there'll be an option there to go to the day 0 dinner. Or day -1, I guess, dinner. And that way I can get kind of a head count, and I'll just follow up with everyone, closer to the event.
And that's just wondering if there's an opportunity to cook. I don't know if we looked at the
There-
I
rooms.
did. So last year at the old hotel that we were at, yeah, there were suites with that option. It was pretty horrible, to be honest. But like I had one and it was kind of shitty. The things that they gave you to cook with suck dick. But this place doesn't seem to have any like stovetops or anything like that in any of their suites. So no, basically the short answer. Yeah.
Cool.
The long answer is also no.
All right. Let's move on to our last topic before we get into some announcements. And that is some technical changes that we're making to the event. Yeah, go for it, Eric.
So, yeah, this is where I'm probably going to ramble for quite a bit. But there are definitely some tech changes happening. One of the first things, maybe the astute of you will notice, is that the headset now has these red velour pads on them, which makes this set a lot more comfier. And it actually lets us differentiate between two headsets a lot easier instead of going like, oh, do you have the Audio-Technica or the Sennheiser? It's like, do you have the red one or do you have the black one that Lurk has? So there's that. We will definitely be using the podium mics again because they're awesome and allow for just not having to mic people up. It's wonderful. I don't care if there's a stick in the video feed. It sounds pretty damn good. Naglaria has also invested in some headphones, so that way if people need headphones but don't need the microphone, that's usable as well. Maybe you need to private practice and you need the headphones. That's something that we can do. Another
I forget
thing
the
is
brand name, but it's
they're Audio-Technica
Two Audio-
M50Xs. They're the exact same ones that GDQ uses if you're a headphone-only person on stage. So they're pretty good. I've read many things. They're pretty good. Another upgrade is actually I bought a camcorder, which is being used right now. As you can see, it's pretty nice. It has things like face detect on it right there. So it has that. It has the ability to zoom and zoom and zoom and continue to zoom and zoom.
dude,
zoom.
we're getting into GDQ meme shit territory.
Pretty much. Like this is a very nice camcorder.
Like of all the
It's,
things to copy from GDQ, the memes are not.
But yes, the GoPros and the Action Cam, these are still awesome. I like them, but I understand their difficulty, and maybe it's not the absolute best thing to use in a face cam thing. So we now have this beautiful piece of equipment that I, of course, paid out of pocket because that's the only way any equipment gets bought on NASA.
I was gonna say you're gonna hear that a lot. Just assume that if he owns anything,
Yeah.
he just bought it for the event. But let's just say he also bought it for himself as well.
yes, a lot of equipment purchases is things that we can use, like the headphones that Naglaria is using right now, or this headset I'm using right now, or this camera I'm using like every piece of equipment we also use for ourselves so that way we can get more value out of it because we don't have money to just throw equipment only at the event.
And that being said, I also wanted to bring back the thing I had at the first NASA. If you do bring a TV, I'll give you $5 off on a NASA attendee ticket. If you pay PayPal, I'll just give you $5 cash. Just like, bam. Thanks for helping out NASA by bringing a TV.
Yeah, one change is that we'll have more TVs this year. That's for sure.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
remember I forgot 2 at my house, and I just forgot them. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, for example, the TV that we used for the games, I'm hoping that can always be available for like practice room or something. I'm hoping that I can get some different equipment from work if it's available. It all depends. It's kind of a couple months away to know what I'll have full access to. I could potentially just get randomly fired. Who knows? The meteor could fall on me. But another thing is that the stream server is actually much more equipped now. I purchased a Magewell Quad HDMI capture card, which brings up the total amount of captures I can do right now without any other capture cards from staff to 6, because 4 HDMI, 2 DVI.
I also bought one.
Yes. So we now have a total of 8 HDMI captures, and then that brings us down to 3 data path captures. So, but that's not all that of a bad thing, because if I fix the OSSC that's sitting dead on my desk, that's one. Naglaria has a working OSSC, so that's another input. I now own a RetroTink as well, so that's like another capture input. The Panasonic DVD recorder, that's another input when it gets converted to HDMI. So there is not a problem with getting capture set up. It also means that setup should go by a lot more smoothly because now instead of unplugging things, we can just have them permanently plugged in. It will be fantastic.
Less moving parts, the better.
Yes, less moving parts, the better.
Indeed.
I don't, well, I mean, like, I have a video light as well now. If you check the Twitter, let me show this. Let me turn it off, actually. So I have like a little video light now, and we're going to work a little bit more on lighting here. Not to GDQ's extent, because I don't want to like get into like makeup and everything, but just to like brighten up the room. There will be maybe natural sunlight, maybe not, because of the projectors and everything like that, but there will definitely be attempts to at least help with the lighting. And I mean, these things, at least this little thing can get absurdly bright. Like, that is actually hurting my eyes this close. Like, it is super bright. So, but there is definitely investments happening on that front. Yeah, it's welcome to lighting. But yeah, and I'm all the time working on trying to get capture down as much as possible, one console at a time. Like, I'm literally researching the best capture for the 32X at the moment, in case somebody decides to submit a 32X thing. Theyflower, yes, I did find the remote, not for the VCR, but for the DVD recorder, which has a coaxial input, which means that it will work.
Wait, 32X? That's just the same as a Genesis.
Yes, but a 32X overlays a video. The way that a 32X works is that a regular Genesis output, you have the Genesis layer, and then you have the 32X layer. So the Genesis outputs a video layer, and then the 32X outputs it on top, and then together you have the video feed. What happens now is you have 2 different video signals, so they can be out of phase, and oftentimes in games the 32X is like 256 pixels wide, but the Genesis layer is 320 pixels wide, so you have like all this sort of nonsense. And the way that NASA works is I try to pixel perfect capture everything because quality is just
He's
the
a
thing
perfectionist.
it's the fact that I'm a perfectionist, and the fact that I think that's just one of NASA's defining things, is that we try to always achieve the best video capture, best tech in general with what we have. And I think considering the fact that my wallet continuously cries all the time, we're doing a pretty good job. So
And as
Yeah.
for Atari, like I think rather than have a dragster tournament, since Billy Mitchell was disgraced afterwards, we should have a NES Donkey Kong race.
Right.
That would be for like a a low effort shitty tournament on stream if we want to do that.
Yeah, by the way, one question we didn't get to that I figured I'd mention, Naspers, about anything we could bring aside from CRTs that would help with the marathon. We'll probably, I know last year we meant to make a list of things that we thought might help, and then we never did. So it's one of those things that we probably could do a little better of is trying, I don't know if you have any off the top of your head, but I'm sure this year we might do a better job of making a list of stuff that isn't potentially mentioned right now.
Stuff that would be helpful is if you want to run like a tournament or a challenge and you like bring the stuff to run the challenge and run the tournament, or some of the stuff at least. Because that's really, I think what we want to do is just have more stuff for people to do and sign up for and like intentionally show up for, because I think that'll just help people, you want to have, I think, a good balance of sort of like scheduled stuff and just like you're here on vacation doing whatever. So if you can help contribute to that sort of like scheduled tournament challenge, whatever that looks like, that would be really cool. Like that would help us out the most. And then TVs. we need more TVs. Monitors.
Of course, those are hard to bring for people who are using transit and not driving. But if you are driving or know somebody who is driving and bring a TV with them, that's always very much appreciated. But I definitely think the point lurking about bringing your own stuff, if you want to run a game, or if you want, especially if it's not as common, it's, especially for something of this size, it's not a good idea to assume that it will be there. So if you want to run something on a very old console that maybe isn't very common, you might need to bring it yourself. Of course, Ares might have an already RGB modded version of the console, but you can always check if you want to run something, seeing if we already have it.
I think like when we make game submissions, just like we'll have like whatever game console it's on. If it's something weird, I'll probably want to ask if you're like, do you have a fucking 3DO? Because I fucking don't.
I don't either, for the record, so you better supply that if you're doing. But one purchase I forgot to actually mention is I also invested in a set of Genesis HD Retrovision cables. So it just makes life a lot easier when you don't have to go through RGB conversions and everything like that. You can it's just another cable to allow the consoles to always be hooked up and just work with the CRT. So
another change that we can mention. I have a dual PC streaming setup this year. So my plan at least is to bring both of my desktops, so we should have a spare practice PC as well this year, at least another one. My dream at least is to get at some point to have like a 6-player LAN, like NASA official setup at some point or something that that other events are managed to have, because they have like DreamHack connections or something. But
yeah, if
you really
want to bring a computer, bring it. Like,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, Dark if you wanted to fuck up a Marathon Tech, just play a WonderSwan game. Because it has like an 80-something frame rate, so it just doesn't compute.
I would be able to capture it if I had a TV out, but like the Intellivision is actually super easy. Composite output into this brick or the DVD recorder, and we're pretty good. Like, I have thought out a lot of different caption. Like, sometimes I don't have anything to do, and this is really sad to say, but I'll be like, what if somebody submits this random console? How the hell am I going to record it? And then I start theory crafting it all how I'm going to do this.
So what I'm understanding is, to fully challenge you, we need to find as many obscure consoles and things as possible and just make it as difficult. Like, I want to run a Game Boy Color game, but only on a Game Boy Color. I don't want to use anything else.
You can go fuck yourself then, because that can't be captured.
Well,
But
Well, you could put a camera on the screen. Is
Yeah,
that good enough?
I could.
'Cause I-
you'd
We're
also
not
need
going
like an
to though.
extremely bright light.
You
No,
can
no,
get.
I only want the regular brightness for this. These are my requirements, okay?
Oh, so you don't want to be able to see it. Okay.
I think
There is,
for Virtual Boy, you would just do it on emulator.
No, Virtual
No,
Boy, you
you
can
can
actually get
capture
TV
it, yeah.
apertures now. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep.
That's
You can absolutely.
I'm
play
not
Virtual
paying
Boy.
for it, but
No.
if somebody wants to bring a Virtual Boy that has the capture card like set up, you are more than welcome to do it like that. Yeah, basically, if whatever you want to run, talk to me about it. If of course original hardware is king. If a mod has to be done, we can take a look into it.
10-player SWAT, we're doing it. George,
Yep.
let's suit up.
I think the
mean, we
hardest
did-
part about
you
that
did
was
mention it earlier.
players.
we did
Yeah.
TF2.
Let's do
I
it.
literally said do it.
Yeah, but the thing is
Kidding.
with
That
TF2,
wasn't
we
a
did
joke.
capture every screen. So this
Yeah,
year,
that was like I don't like.
every capture.
We're gonna
You
do
probably only need to
Yeah.
capture like 3.
No, we're capturing all 8.
it.
and-
10.
Yeah.
It's 10, not
SWAT's
8.
10 man. SWAT, yeah, SWAT is 10 man.
Yeah, 10 man.
We can put 10 men on the screen. We got this. If ESA can do it, we can do it too. I'm sure.
All right, should we get into some?
Even that many
announcements now?
capture inputs.
I think we can get into some announcements. I think the people want to hear some stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, I'll type this out while someone announces pre-NASA.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you want to go, Aries?
Yeah.
Now?
So, if any of you follow me on Twitter, which I don't know why you would, but I've been talking about a top secret marathon, and we've pretty much turned it into pre-NASA. So, we've done pre-NASA twice now, and it happens. It's all right. We think that as an event, it could be a lot better, a lot more interesting, and in doing that, we could probably raise more funds to help make this event happen. So my top secret marathon is now going to be pre-NASA. The event itself is called Speed Kino. I don't know if Lurk wants to put that slide up on the stream or not that I made. It's very simple. But the way that it works is that it's very thematic in the way that if anybody remembers a conversation that happened in the NASA Discord where we were going over Budget-thon, in which case we would take the video coming in and we would kind of change it up so that way it kind of fits like a theme. And the way that I was wanting to do this is to have the streams that people give us to restream to go into a black and white television where I have this camcorder pointed at it and it's capturing the raw feed from that black and white TV. So if anybody's watched the LGR video where he was playing Cuphead on a black and white TV, that's kind of the vibe I want with this event. In that the Cuphead, for example, as a game, works really nice on a black and white TV because it has that vibe, it has that aesthetic. I probably won't be showing the TV in the frame. We have a nice layout. It'll just be kind of like the video itself. But if people can get creative with the games that they want to submit, like Game Boy games, perfect. They're monochromatic. It works perfectly fine. Horror games would be sick on a black and white TV. You get like the Dawn of the Dead kind of style going on there. Games like Cuphead, animated games, or like games like Contradiction, just kind of get things going. And if my whole setup with recording the black and white TV doesn't work, of course we can just do it via filters and everything like that. But I want people to get creative with kind of their games and getting a whole kind of vibe going. So with the event itself, it's going to actually happen in March. It's going to happen March 15th to 17th. So as linked in the chat there, we do have the speedrun page open if you want to get some submissions in. I'm hoping that people will get creative and we'll have a really cool event. Like, it would be awesome if during intermissions or for hosting with donations, people talked in like a transatlantic accent. I think that would be sick. I think that there's a chance to get really creative with this, and I'm hoping that it goes well.
Yeah, and a good point here about like when you're thinking of what to submit when he's talking about just using filters, if you can find a way to get a video of your run and just throw a black and white filter on it, make it look all black and white, that'll give you an idea of how your game looks. Because we're definitely going to give preference if we get like different submissions over games that would look good in the format. Of course, when you have examples like Cuphead being an example of just an animated game that looks good in this type of format. So it's just take a little bit of thinking while you're looking at what games to submit and think, does it look good in this format? Because we kind of do want to show off the best types of games that work for this. So, of course, if you only have one game, you can submit that and we'll, yeah. But if it comes down to some tough choices, we'll probably end up going with the one that would look better with the kind of format we're testing out here. So I don't know if you were planning on mentioning this, but might reach out to some communities of games that we think are good if nobody submits them to see if we can show off, like, for example, if nobody in this chat does run Cuphead, we might ask somebody if they want to submit for this type of marathon their game just to show it off, because it will be a mix of, the community itself coming in and helping, as we do with Pre-NASA to kind of raise funds to put towards the event, which, affects costs and stuff, but also showing off this technology as a goal as well, whether that's just a black and white filter or a more ideally this speed, format.
If you think black and white maybe doesn't work all that well, I'm fine with, for example, if you are going to run a Virtual Boy game and you want like the red filter, I'm okay with that. Or if you wanted like a green tint or an orange tint, because monochrome monitors existed where they were green or amber phosphor. So I'm okay with that too. If you want like an orange mood for your game, because I don't know, it's like whatever, it's orange theme, you're playing as an orange, I don't know. If you want that, like, we can work with it. If a specific tint would maybe work on it, but the goal is to just like get people kind of creative with their submissions and hopefully get like a good creative stream going where it's like, oh, this is different, it's interesting, I like this. So
yeah,
and,
submissions are open for that up until right now, up until February 22nd, and we should be able to have a schedule out within like the next week, following week.
Yeah, we should be able to put it together. And the nice part about submitting over time here, and we'll put out a tweet about this probably right after this, we'll announce all this stuff and give links to anything we're showing off here, maybe through a couple tweets. But yeah, just you'll have a few weeks to submit, and since they'll kind of come in over time, we'll be able to put together a final schedule of runs that we probably already have an eye on, relatively quick.
And one final thing, since I see in chat that Kino is better than Kino, the reason that the event is actually called Speed Kino is to make reference to kinescopes. So this is where the whole idea for like the black and white tube TV and everything, back in the day when TV was kind of like in its infancy, nobody really had the luxury of, for example, taking something that was filmed on the East Coast and just like sending off on a server or something, and then you air it 3 hours later on the West Coast. What actually had to happen was they had a camera with like a satellite feed or something like that, and they would be recording the tube TV. It was called kinescope, and that because you couldn't really do like multiple outputs. You had your one output and that was it. So that's how they would kind of send content from one side of the country to the other, was via kinescoping. And I was looking at it, I thought it was a really cool concept that would work with speedruns, because that's kind of like what we're doing. We're taking runs that people do online and we are rebroadcasting them. So I thought that that would be a cool thing to do with them. So yeah, there you go.
The other thing that is opening up right now are moderation. That didn't come out right. Moderation. Chat moderation applications for our chat. We've been told by Twitch, and we agree that we need to take a little bit more seriously our chat, I guess, in terms of whatever moderation we can do in it. Like, we try to do it automated and just leave it whatever is in there, but yeah, we're looking to see and get some like chiller folks who aren't going to be freaking Third Reich moderators up in our chat to respect our rules about not being a dumbass. If you think that you are someone who can manage to not be a dumbass and help us manage our chat in a way that doesn't make it totally unfun or whatever the fuck, you should totally apply, because we're going to have our applications open for that right now.
The rules are pretty straightforward as far
Yeah.
as what we want and don't want. Like, if someone's talking about, like, some straight up off the wall offensive crazy shit, it's like, yeah, I want I want to play video games and have.
Yeah, I think
It's
what
not-
Left Side Worldwide just said, like, as long as it doesn't turn into GDQ level of no fun allowed, like, we want to have a discussion with folks who are interested in being moderators about just that sort of thing. Like, where is our line? What do we really expect you to be doing in chat? Like, what is acceptable? What does Twitch say is not acceptable, and we can't, override what they say or whatever, So yeah,
because what they say is not acceptable is not acceptable.
Exactly.
Being, and that's where when you start hearing about certain things is, we want to make sure that our chat isn't getting flagged as, allowing things that are banned on Twitch, because that gets your channel banned. So that's an example of thing where we want to, if you're interested in moderating, and the thing is, if you're going to be present during the event, like, you can still apply anyway if you think you're wanting to attend during NASA 2019. We still have pre-NASA for the online stuff. And if you think you're going to be watching all the events online, you think you'd be a good mod, well, that's even better, because there will be a lot of people who are there in person for NASA 2019. So if you're going to be online watching it all, then you're especially a person that should definitely apply if you're interested in modding. And we're going to go through all that kind of stuff once we select our mods, talking about, where we draw lines and what we're kind of looking for. And that'll be a discussion that we'll have kind of after this submission period.
We definitely don't want to dive into like crazy, like, chat will still be fun, but if your definition of being fun is just being a jackass, then that's not really going to be tolerated.
Yeah, there's people who like actively try to break rules, and it's like, all right, you're probably going to get banned if you're trying to get banned, but if you're just trying to have fun, you're probably not going to get.
right. And we need people around to ban those people, because then they're having fun. You know what I mean? It's a circle of life thing. And us five can't handle all of that, especially on site. Like, fuck that. Fuck trying to watch chat while you're watching a stream, while you're at the event. So all the help that we can get is super, super appreciated. And like we've said, we want to make it chill and not annoying. So applications up for that. I forget how long we said we were gonna leave that open for. But obviously we want to get this ready in time for pre-NASA. So things will be closed up and before then.
Probably a few weeks, similar to the submissions for the actual runs.
Yeah, even one person would make a big difference as far as being in our chat, so please apply. So yeah, moving on. This is our last announcement. Want to talk about the hotel and when you can start registering for rooms. So we are going to release our group code on February 15th. So,
which is this coming Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yeah, in that case, you'll be able to start reserving up rooms. If you haven't already started, booking flights or booking plans, and you want to wait until you had a hotel room booked, you can start doing that. Registration won't be coming out till later, so if you're wondering about that, we'll have times and dates for that announced in the future. But for now, you'll have the ability to book your hotel spot and and then you can go and book your flights and plan around what dates you're actually attending.
yeah, we gotta wait for pre-NASA to finish up before we can determine like costs and what it'll do before registration and all that open. So
yeah.
But yeah, look forward to that, because we should have a pretty sweet hotel spot. So sooner you get into a room situation, the better.
Yeah.
I think at this point, maybe we'll just stick around for another like couple minutes. If anyone has any questions in chat, stuff that we missed, stuff that you still have questions about as far as NASA 2019, pre-NASA applications. One thing we can mention is that we're also going to get volunteer applications out sometime after pre-NASA. We want to take that a little bit more seriously than we did last year as well. That we may have dropped the ball a little bit on that as far as not having stuff for people to do or not having like an orientation kind of thing. So we'll try and make that happen.
I mean, at least tech volunteer-wise, it's obviously there's a lot to learn, and you can't learn everything at once. But I feel like the problem with that was because there was no predefined shift. What would happen is people would show up and just be like, "Is there anything for me to do?" And it's like, not really, because the run's happening. And then when if a run needs to get set up, they're like, "Is there anything I can do?" It when you ask that and it's the middle of the setup, there really isn't much that you can do, because if there's something I have to explain to you, it is probably not going to be quick enough if I have to explain it and then watch you do it and then potentially fix you do it. So when tech happens, just stick around, because if there's nothing happening, I can try to explain things that are going on. And I mean, there's resources to figure out as well, at least on the capture side. There's now a wiki that we have on using the data path cards. There's a Discord that I have that is literally all about capturing. There's a panel that me and Lurk had at GQ that goes over the capture side of things, at least in a basic concept. So, I mean, I don't expect people to be like audio engineers or video engineers and know exactly, but just...
If you are, we could use you.
Yes, but I think the biggest thing is when people are like, what can I do to help? And if I say nothing this second, is to not just instantly leave and not come back for like till the next day. It's all right, well, is there anything that I should be doing right now?
And just a good thing was that we'll probably look into potentially having time beforehand where we can, you know, if we're a little smarter and have everything set up early, where we can go through and take some time to teach people how to do stuff by going through step by step. Because last time we were very smart and didn't have everything done until, you know, an hour before the marathon was ready to go. So if we ideally have a little more time, then we can actually do these things where we can call it in. And we might be looking at for volunteers instead of just, you know, coming in and walking out. If we do have enough volunteers, actually setting up schedules. So it's one of those things, instead of just wandering in and out and figuring out what to do, you can sit there for your few hours and, you know, just sit around, and even if you're just watching the stream, you'd be like, oh, well, what's going on with that? What's going on with this? And you might pick up a piece of information here or there, but you're also just providing company to the people sitting there, because, you know, it's sometimes nice if it's you just as much as you're there and existing.
Yeah, so we'll be a bit more intentional with volunteer stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I just got back, but like, you know, we're going to want to definitely whatever you guys said.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you explained that there's going to be more like specific volunteer roles and more structured stuff and such.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Great.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Would be of interest if we record and NASA setup so one day staff can comment over it and explain what's going on. If we're talking about like the setup from scratch, well, it takes normally like 12 hours to do all the setup, so we might not be able to do a, you know, direct stream. But if we tried to do this thing where we were like vlogging a little bit of stuff, or it's like, oh, we're kind of doing this or we're kind of doing that, we definitely won't be able to get the whole thing from scratch unless, you know, because I don't think any of us are going to sit around for 12 hours and comment something. But it's one of those things that I definitely think we can record, you know, little videos here and there as we're getting certain steps done to even just explain things in the future. And that's, I think, something that we had in mind, but it's the issue of when you only have a handful of people working on setting up, that kind of takes priority, and then other things were falling. So it's one of those things about maybe just being prepared a little smarter.
Right, and even like with my thing of like saying, oh, could we understream it earlier? Like in my head when I said that, you know what I pictured? A webcam in the corner hooked into a laptop with no sound showed like what we were actually doing. You know, just general.
Yeah, and that's something we could look into for sure.
Right.
And yeah, and yeah,
if we have
that-
time for it.
that's a
know?
good answer.
Like,
too.
if we're busy trying to get set up and we don't have time to worry about getting a laptop and a webcam and all that, then it's not going to happen. Like, it's not important enough, you know.
It would be nice, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that ideally, if we can do it, we'll do it. If we can't, if it doesn't work, it's the last thing we're going to try and prioritize because
Right.
it's just a nice to have compared to a will not have the stream working if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a question.
Potentially in the staff room with the suite, we could have Mafia there and have someone on a laptop kind of record that for a Mafia stream, so a Mafia stream can finally happen at a
Question we didn't answer was like a when's a West Coast marathon or something like that, and I don't know if for 2020 I don't think we've had any discussion on
Yeah,
it,
for
but
NASA specifically, basically all of like our tech guys, all of our tech is like near the Toronto area. So like hauling it long
Yeah.
distance is a giant pain in the ass. So it's
Mhm.
like,
Well, even going to the U.S. has been something.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
been
even
the
fun
US is a
because of
pain.
that. Let alone, like, to be fair, it's funny, if we went West Coast, it would be more likely that we did Vancouver than anything else in the
Yes.
state. It, like, currently, like, in terms of if you were going long distance, Vancouver would happen before the U.S. in, like, Buffalo before California. So it definitely...
Yeah. Because, like,
I-
what you have to understand... Well, actually, I'm sure you're about to explain it, so I'll shut up.
Pretty much, yeah, with bringing equipment over the border, that's always a little bit iffy. But there are steps that we are taking to quote-unquote portabilize the setup. Like, for example, this retro tank, it has your component as video and composite output. It outputs over mini HDMI 480p or passes through. So with devices like this, I can, for example, take my desktop, maybe a couple of these, and I can get a decent quality stream going. Of course, I have to pay for flight to West Coast or anything like that. Like those crazy guys said, Vancouver would probably be the most likely just because it's like in Canada, don't have to do anything.
Yeah, because the issue is, yes, it's kind of a joke, comment of don't hide drugs. It's not so much about the illegal of what might be in the thing. It's the
It's the
issue
thing.
comes down to
Work
it's
visas and such.
yeah,
Look like you're professional.
exactly. That's the key part is that they think you're going down to
Especially-
do a job, even if you're not getting paid for it.
And
I have a big
technically
problem.
Speaking, NASA's an LLC, so even though he's
It's-
doing it as a volunteer, it's still on a professional level, technically.
It's not even that. I am now a professional AV person. I should not
That
be
too.
going over with a bunch of AV equipment over the border
Yeah.
to run an AV thing.
Yeah,
But
because they'll ask, "What's your job?" I work in AV. Oh,
Yeah. the
Yeah.
second thing I was going to say is even if we did a West Coast thing, it would probably happen in Vancouver anyways, not even technical logically wise. If we for this NASA 2019, we looked at locations in the States. What we found out was that they were pretty crap and pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do that, or we can go to Niagara Falls for a lot cheaper. So it's
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Vancouver is going to be cheaper than Seattle.
And the travel, especially for like folks who are international, like it kind of sucks, you know, having to take like a really long plane ride and then take a bus or a train or, you know, whatever to get down to the Niagara Falls. Like, we understand that does suck, but, you know, Americans kind of have to do that for ESA. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's traveling just kind of sucks. But
Right.
what we can promise is that once you get to the venue is going to be fun. It should be a chill time. It should be a good atmosphere. So
Yeah.
least
I
that's
don't
our
know if
goal.
we've emphasized it, but there's a water park in the middle of the hotel that you
Yeah.
get unlimited access to with your hotel room as long as you actually put the correct number of people staying in your hotel room. So this is something that I don't know if was mentioned in hotels, but you do, if you want to go into the water park, put the right number of people in your hotel room. Don't lie, so you can get a little bit of a cheaper rate.
Yeah,
Like
because
if there's four
I
people,
think
put four
I think they
people, because
give
it
you.
includes 4 unlimited passes to the water park.
Yeah, 'cause I think they give you a pass for the room, and
Yeah.
it's probably one of those wristband things
Mhm.
that are a pain in the ass to deal with. But you're gonna need to keep it on for a week. You're gonna do lots of water parking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but like the point is, it's included. And the price for the hotel rooms is very reasonable in my opinion. Especially compared to other venues and such.
Yeah, so if
and
you
you're
want that
getting that
water park,
value
don't
built
cheap
in.
out.
Yeah,
And,
go cheap out if you want that.
George brings up a good point that I have a not a GoFundMe, but like a widget or what, some kind like basically on my personal stream, there's a donation thing for the goal is $5 million to buy an island. I'm about 5 million away from hitting that goal.
Very close.
But if we get that,
We're getting there.
we could buy an island, get some internet. Some of them are refurbished. There's only like websites dedicated for people that are like stupid rich to just buy
Hell
islands
yeah,
and shit.
dude! The Speedfire event, it's lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually got that ready for 2020
Come
already.
speed run with
you want to give us
Instagram
money?
models? Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
dude!
We could have a dedicated island
Speed
for
run on
speed
the
running and
beach, Oceanside.
Oh boy.
Someone
Not-
dab, so I don't have to do it.
So,
No.
but and as far as like other locations, he's right. Like
I got you.
This was an earlier topic, but are we just sitting here waiting for people to ask questions and stuff?
Yeah, we're just letting people. Yeah,
Okay.
we're just hanging
So
out.
like
and
as far
asking
as we were
questions.
talking about earlier, like with the sucking. I've done a little bit of research in my area, Maryland, DC, Baltimore, and I don't know how GDQ even finds venues because like most of the venues in this area have garbage internet, first of all, and they're ungodly expensive. And,
you can,
and-
well, yeah,
Have money.
when you get as much money as they do, you can pay for internet up.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, and that's kind of where it comes in. Like you're talking American hotels, which it's hard to find a good American hotel for an event like this, honestly, in the areas that we reside at least, for prices that would be reasonable to our attendees. It's just not easy to accomplish. Chicago was fine. We managed to do that, except the internet was garbage again, and that's kind of the issue. In
Shout
Canada,
out to
not
signing in
only-
every 24 hours.
Yeah, in Canada, not only do you get like the benefit of all the tech and everything, and all the shit Dan can bring from his work and stuff, but you also get the benefit
And healthcare.
of better infrastructure on a base level for internet at a lot of these hotels. So we've been able to go from hotel to hotel to hotel and have multiple options in a general area and been able to actually price against different hotels because they all actually have internet.
We
Which
did have,
it's hard to do in America.
2 questions. Who owns NASA LLC? Niclaria does.
I do.
This guy. This guy.
Yeah,
Proprietorship.
technically I am the sole proprietor.
And
Basically,
we are the volunteers.
like all the responsibility lies with me.
I don't know where he
yeah.
is on the.
And
One thing, before you answer that,
Yeah.
just before I forget it, because it scrolled way the fuck up, and it was the second half of the one question we answered that an Asper asked about, like the dual stream, understream. There was mention of panels. I'm pretty sure we will allow for panels to be resubmitted again onto the mainstream as long as they're good. Now you can continue, Lurk.
Yeah, totally. When are we gonna start selling merch to start funding stuff? We've looked into it a bit. Amazon kind of makes that easy through Twitch, like their partnership program can help you do like
Been easy
T-shirts.
for
Easy,
these
Yeah.
quote
things.
unquote.
The stuff that we don't have that isn't easy is like actual designs for these shirts.
Yep.
Like, I mean, we could throw up a NASA logo onto a shirt or whatever, but I don't know how. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's still.
I mean, the thing is with merch. So first of all, there is merch available from a NASA partner marathon right now. We want Left 4 Dead HD.
Yeah.
we don't have it 2 HD.
We want Left 4 Dead 2 HD. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That was fine
So
today.
there is actually merch available. So first of all, support them real quick. Go over there, give them your money.
We're interested. We just
but-
haven't found anything that is like really
Yeah.
like.
Without
yes, we're
getting
gonna do this,
copyrighted.
you know? Because if we
The
did,
other
we'd have
thing-
announced it already, you know? Because, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be sweet to
The
have.
other
but-
thing that I think is true and honest is that like it's another thing to do. And there's only 5 of us at a certain point. You know, the t-shirt is something where if we don't find something that really speaks to us or stands out to us as like a value proposition for people and stuff, we're not really going to be able to just like devote a ton of time to that right now, you know? And that's something that, again, we've looked at a lot over the years. But we just haven't really found the right solution for us yet.
I mean, there
you
is a
know.
question of like, if we were to offer a form of merch, NASA merch or something like that, what would you actually buy? Like, what would be
Yeah.
feasibly like, yes, I would buy this.
Yeah.
You know?
So-
would it be like a T-shirt with a NASA logo, a T-shirt with
Yeah.
just a random logo on it, hat, a pillow, yes, underwear. That's a great example.
So
I mean,
here's something that we actually already have, ready to go. I can make a tester of it or whatever. Me and Dan designed a what are they called? Keyboard mat, mouse, the big ass mouse pads, a really fucking big mouse pad, right?
Yeah.
That you put your keyboard and your mouse and all your shit on, right? We designed one of those that's NASA themed, and I was actually genuinely gonna finally get it printed up as a couple of prizes for maybe some of the tournaments or challenges that we've got going on this year. I was going to personally buy a couple and, you know, throw them in as prizes. So that's kind of like a little bit of a tester. I'm not only going to be able to test quality of, you know, wherever I can find them manufactured from, but I can kind of get an idea of the design and how it works and everything. And, you know, would people be interested in actually buying something like that? Or would you think that that would just be something that's good as a prize? You know, so that's what we need to know. What would you actually want to buy? Because I'm going to get one made for myself.
Because, yeah, we could definitely
You
do
know.
T-shirts. T-shirts are a pretty easy thing, especially if it's just a NASA
Yeah.
logo. Like, you know,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can make just a big logo on the back, or, you know, the breast, you know, logo, whatever, you know, is available. Really, we could offer that on Amazon or something, and just do it that way. So yeah, we could look into that, but we just haven't, I guess, been confident that something would work. So we haven't
mean,
released it yet.
Let's put it this way. I spent money to get 2 NASA throw pillows printed and made, the NASA logo and the Nando. I was trying to sell them to anybody at the event to take home, and nobody ended up buying it.
Yeah.
So
These are
it's
2
like,
pretty nice throw pillows. They were
oh, I
pretty
keep
cool
them on my
looking.
couch in my living
Yeah,
room. They're fantastic.
and
You can't wear a pillow.
what were you selling them like for $20 each? Anyone at the
It would
event
have
who
been
wanted them?
It was it would have been the cost of what it took to print, so it was like $20 or $30. It's
So, like, but-
literally, I wasn't even making a profit. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get rid of them.
And nobody bought them, right? So that's a product that not a lot of people are gonna want to have, you know. I could tell you that if we could get some beanies as a beanie wear, like I wear a lot of beanies. Lark's wearing one right now. If I could get one of those with a NASA logo on it that actually was good quality that I could wear every day, I would wear it every day. You know, right now my everyday beanie is my Redskins beanie because it's a nice beanie. But the thing is, finding something like that that satisfies all those things and that we can be sure people are going to actually want to buy because it's in the good price range is hard to do. You know, it's difficult.
Yeah, and
If you
Tier
don't want to
brings
sell
up-
cheap shit.
Tier brings up a good point about like a merch booth or something like that, and we've considered it as part of our, as part of our layout, as like where in the room would that sit, because you know we have attendees who make stuff and could offer that for sale.
You basically have
So-
like a table near the stream thing,
Yeah.
probably.
So
Yeah,
we're
if
figuring it
you
out.
had, if we had people that had like a booth that wasn't the stuff that we necessarily had, we were
Mhm.
considering that. But also, if you're talking about like booth for our merch, the only issue you run into that is that then that means you have to have the stuff pre-made beforehand, which means you're already costing it.
Yep.
So the problem is that we print out 50 shirts and sell 5 of them. Well, now we're out a bunch of money because we bought a whole bunch of shirts ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 'cause-
unless it was like, hey, if you want to pre-order a shirt and we'll send it to you,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Like
And-
we'll
and-
do that, but we probably won't buy the shirts ahead of time.
I've worked in retail for an extremely long time. So one thing I can tell you is clothing is horrible. Like the thing is, right, let's say that we got 50 shirts and we got like 15 smalls, 20 mediums, whatever, right? It adds up and you get all these different size categories, right? So you've got a bunch of different sizes and it's just a horrible idea to get them pre-made. It's much better to go through
The paper print.
like where you order it online and they print it and ship it directly to you. It's just a lot easier, at least the size that we're at, to accomplish something like that than to actually have on-site merchandise. And even AGDQ doesn't have their own on-site merch. The Yeti does all of that and then comes and brings it all to the event and does the actual booth. I picked up my AGDQ volunteer shirt from a Yeti volunteer. This is not a GDQ staff member or a GDQ volunteer. So it's a lot of work. Even someone with their kind of budget isn't, putting that kind of.
So one thing I do want to say about merch is that I want to get some form of let me retry this in English. I want to get some form of merch created. One of the goals with pre-NASA is that I want some sort of giveaway, because that's just kind of how you want to grow. If there is if people subscribe or if people donate towards the event in pre-NASA, they are eligible for some sort of prize. Well, that helps kind of drum up interest as well, instead of just oh, well, the event will be nice. And it's well, people are selfish in that fact, where it's, I would be too, but it's well, I don't want only the events to do well. I want something a little bit out of this. That's why GDQ does it well, right? They have a lot of different prizes and everything, and it helps drum up donations for them. So I want to make some sort of merch. I don't know, maybe it'll be a custom desktop mouse pad. Maybe it'll be a custom beanie or something, but in reality, I wanted to have a movie poster made for the event, Speed Kino coming to Twitch, blah, blah, yada, yada, or something like that, but I don't have the money to pay a professional graphics designer to go make that, because I spent money on camcorders and a bunch of
So you
shit.
get a mouse pad.
So there'll probably be a custom mouse pad. Maybe I'll get multiple. Maybe I'll get 5 printed and we can hand those out as prizes. But maybe, and even then, maybe it won't be where you have to donate. It'll be subscribe to the YouTube, follow on Twitch, follow on Twitter, kind of just get social media going.
Smash that like button,
Yeah, exactly. So merch is definitely something that we want to do, which like it said, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Even with the booth thing, the Yeti didn't have on-site purchases. It was all pre-made. You could only pick up your one shirt if you already bought it beforehand. So
yeah. So I was just going to leave one more quick comment. I think we're getting ready to wrap it up here. I just wanted to go to one of the other questions that were earlier that we'll just give a quick comment on, which was, I think it was for about asking if everyone gets a run is still in effect. We didn't really do that much last year. We still kind of try to do it, but I think this year it's pretty much guaranteed that we're going to be going away with that. We're not guaranteeing that everyone gets a run, because we kind of toe this line between quality versus inclusion. And I felt that some of the comments we were starting to get was that we were starting to run down in the effort of inclusion, we were running down quality. So by being a little more selective, it allows us to kind of choose the ones that we think are going to do well and show well, and not just do it because somebody submitted something as a meme and then wants to get in, something like that.
Yeah.
We would ideally like to have a little bit more of a serious run, balance to balance out all the memes. Ideally, a nice high quality, good commentary run. Just a few.
And even then, a meme run can still be good. It doesn't just have to be that's the thing, is it's if you want to do a meme run, that's fine, but put some effort into the meme run. Don't just show up and you haven't played the game in 4 years and give it a blind go. Do at least 1 hour of practice.
Yeah, we're gonna
I do.
prioritize runs we feel like people are invested in. They want to do the run. They want it to happen. So I think that's kind of our
we're gonna get back
criteria for picking runs.
Exactly.
To Tier's question about like esports and championships, just going back to like the tournaments and stuff that we're trying to push more and schedule more, and we've definitely floated the idea of showing, you know, like the finals, the, you know, top 4 or whatever, on the mainstream to sort of highlight what's going on, give them a bit of spotlight. So we could maybe do, you know, a bigger, you know, wrestling federation style belt with intros and the whole thing. We could make that happen if people are interested, you know, and they really want to make it happen. So yeah, it's all open. So yeah,
Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap up.
if anyone has any other questions about NASA, anything that we talked about or anything like that, please hit us up. You can hit us up on Twitter at NASA Marathon. We'll be updating our website with all of the information regarding dates, submission, pre-NASA information, things like that. So stay tuned and keep gaming.